All right. Something that is extremely popular is man bashing, man hating, especially towards white men. You know, every time a rich white man does something fucked up, all white men get blamed. And then there's this idea that if a man is rejected, that he must be a killer. And even if he wasn't rejected, he'll pretend that he was. One of the recent Natalie Bollinger bullshit things on YouTube is from a lady who calls herself Anna Solves. And I'm looking at the comments on here. There's a lot of them. And we've got a bunch of morons typing stuff like, they can't understand that no means no. Yep, sadly, nobody talks about this. Or, yeah, boys who can't accept rejection are just spoiled little wimps. You know, there's hundreds of comments exactly like those. There's also people here who were surprised that it wasn't me, and there's a lot of people who commented without finishing the video. Probably the recent stock of catfish that I've had to deal with. Now, with this situation, people keep typing all this stuff about how boys can't take no for an answer. Boys can't handle rejection. You know, women are between 6 and 11 times more likely to be stalkers than men. And some of these folks on here, they talk about how many women out there are killed. Well, there are a lot of men who are killed too. But you refuse to see men as victims. If a man is raped, he just needs to shut up. He just needs to man up. That's how you treat it. Now, these guys, in order to try to justify their bias and justify their hate, they dig really hard. I mean, really hard. Also, there tend to be a lot of women on here who want to pretend this same bullshit that we all know is not true. We all know women who are actual stalkers. Some of us know men who are stalkers, some of us, but all of us know women who are stalkers. Now, between what I've gone through and what Natalie went through, I'd rather go through what Natalie went through. Her pain ended at 19 years old. That saved her an additional 20 to 40 years of abuse. Then again, she was a pretty white girl, so she had all sorts of opportunities that I'll never have. Ever. When a woman does something wrong, we are taught to look the other way. Now, a lot of these people, their assumption is that Natalie told me no to going out on a date, to having sex, to, well, that's what their conclusions have been drawn to. But then again, there is literally, out of all of this, literally nothing about me and Natalie having sex. Matter of fact, Natalie's own words on that last post show that we never had a sexual relationship. We were friends. These are her own words. When people were saying, oh, well, why'd you date the guy? She was like, I didn't date him. She admitted that we did not have that kind of a relationship. But yet I still have to deal with these kind of nut jobs who want to pretend. I want the world to know the entire truth. I want them to know every single person involved and what they did, what they said, how they took advantage of me. Now, once in a great while, somebody types something like this here. It says, it's usually girls, but sometimes it's gender reverse too. I've seen my fair share of creepy old women hitting on younger boys. You know, calling somebody creepy and then assuming is fucked up. Now, if you know that this person is trying to have sex with a minor, yes, that person is fucking creepy. That is a creepy behavior. Asking someone to call off the dogs is not a creepy behavior. The biggest issue through this is that Natalie Bollinger was a heroin junkie. Who was it that got her strung out on heroin? It was her dad. I've never even tried heroin. Who is it that raped Natalie? That was her dad. And her ex-boyfriend, Tim Beeson. And probably a few other guys too. Now, I read this thing earlier today. It's a post on Facebook about how no means no and men need to get the point and so on and so forth. Do you have any idea how many men are accused of rape every year for rejecting a woman? I have had women who have treated me horribly because I did not have sex with them while they were drunk and literally begging for it. Literally begging for sex from me because I was nice. Just because I'm nice doesn't mean I owe you sex. Now, obviously, since I've gone through me and Natalie's Facebook Messenger, it's actually on here. You can go through and you can read. Natalie thought she was in love with me, and I had to talk her out of that. A lot of people on here type stuff like, oh, well, he was in love and he was rejected. No, I wasn't in love. Yes, I loved Natalie very much. But loving someone is completely different from being in love. Being in love is fake every time. It's possible to be in lust, but it is not possible to be in love. Loving someone is entirely possible. Now, through this, it's a whole bunch of, well, man bashing. As I'm scrolling through this, there's a lot of stuff on here that I'm not sure if I can even say because it might get my YouTube channel temporarily banned. We've got a bunch of these comments of no means no. Men need to learn what no means, and so on and so forth. I know what no means. Matter of fact, I'm even great at being rejected. I did ask out a lot of women growing up. Well, I guess there were girls at the time because by the time I was 19, I was really done with women. You know, I didn't want anything to do with them, especially after being in this cliquey ass town in Chapel, Nebraska, with how superficial people are. Sure, they'll talk nice to your face, but they're bitches behind your back. And then, you know, we've got people like this person here making actually a good point. Don't have social media and post endless pictures of yourself if you don't want to be admired and looked at. That's very true. Now, when I say me personally, not this person, but when I say, hey, if you are going to dress to be looked at, people are going to look at you. Now, it depends on who looks at you. If you decide that, and don't pretend like you don't do this, men do the same thing. They try to dress up in what they think is going to look sexy, what's going to attract a mate. That's why you dress that way. But let's say somebody who is not attractive finds that attractive. Let's say you have as much cleavage showing as you possibly can because you're trying to get the attention of some dude who works at Starbucks. And that guy at Starbucks, well, he doesn't give you the attention that you want or as much of the attention that you want as you feel that you deserve. But then again, there's a guy who's not as attractive, that you're not attracted to. You didn't dress up for this man, but he looks at your cleavage. And then you're frustrated and you rip him out for taking a look. Men do the same thing. They really do. What is it that's going to attract a mate? Now, dressing for success, that's what a lot of women call that. A lot of the women that I know getting dressed up for the bar scene, they say, I'm dressing for success. I'm going to get a man tonight. Well, that's fine. You're allowed to dress like that. You're allowed to try to entice a mate the same way as a peacock would with his feathers. In some species on the planet, it's the male who has to go through that whole crap. In some species on the planet, it's the female who has to go through that whole crap. But it's about enticing a mate. That does not make it okay to rape the person. When I say that a woman dressing like that, dressing provocatively, is going to get her looked at, that is not the same thing as saying it's okay to rape her, because it's not. That would be like saying that it's okay to rape a man who does that. And that's not okay either. Now, it all comes down to these folks listening to these web sleuth groups, these sites on YouTube and on Facebook that I got called schizophrenic for speaking about. Look them up. Anna Solves. It does exist. It is on YouTube. How about Sword and Scale, episodes 109 and 110? How about Rob Gavigan? Hell, you can type the name Natalie Bollinger up, and everything pops up for the whole world to see. But why is it the so-called professionals can't be, well, encouraged to look at that? Or to look at the abuse that disabled people have to go through over crap like that. If you get drunk and a man is hitting on you and you tell him no, no means no. And he should respect that. But also, if you're getting drunk and you are throwing yourself at a dude and he's drunk and he has sex with you, did he do something wrong? Is he more in the wrong than a female? Why should he be expected to hold up to greater standards than a female? What is it that makes it his fault? If she says no, that should be the end of the argument. There should be no argument. No means no. But if she's trying to shoot her vagina out of a fucking cannon at him, that is a different story. That is not rape. Unless you are going to charge both parties with rape. When a man rejects a woman, I have seen and experienced firsthand and I got to tell you, between getting a bullet to the head and going through everything that I went through before Natalie was killed because she lied, a bullet is more humane. That makes men more humane than women. Women are more likely to be stalkers. Women are more likely to make false reports. Women aren't just more likely to be stalkers, they're a lot more likely to be stalkers. They're also a lot more likely to get away with committing crimes, especially against men. Now, we want to take a look at the numbers, but we don't want to take a look at the bias behind them. Look how much more often men get railroaded for being stalkers. You don't have to be a stalker to go to prison or to go to jail. All it takes is a woman's opinion, and all of America will back that bitch up. Cops don't care what the truth is. A girl said it, and she's a pretty white girl, so it must be true. Meanwhile, not one person has been able to show even one situation where it was a sexual situation between me and Natalie. Not even one piece of rejection for my penis. But yet, this is what people go to. No means no. No means no. You're damn right no means no. And it should go both ways. Just because the man that you wanted didn't want to fuck you does not make it okay to destroy his fucking life. Just because you get all fucked up on drugs and don't know what the fuck is going on doesn't make it okay to destroy an innocent man's life. When you ask a man to do something and you pity party him to manipulate him into doing that something, like telling a man that if he is not already on the road, you're going to kill yourself, like Natalie did to me, are those things really okay? Now, there are people on here who they type things like, I don't understand why she would try to frame Sean. Really? You don't understand why she would try to frame me? Well, let's put this in perspective. I exposed her dad with an email that she sent me in 2016. I posted that up in 2017. Matter of fact, it was December 12th of 2017. Less than 3 weeks later, she got shot in the head. I'd been trying to get help stopping the abuse for over a year by the time Natalie got shot in the head. I spoke out about it. Speaking out about my abuse is not the same as stalking. After Natalie was killed, the Bollinger family did everything that they could, and they had a lot of web wingnuts who just assumed that there was some magical no somewhere in there. Or my poor penis was rejected, and oh, yeah, his penis was rejected. He was probably going to kill her anyway. Like, holy fuck, you guys are goddamn nut jobs. I still take the abuse. Almost every time I talk to my autism advocate, I explain to her the same thing I explain to everyone else. I need a safe place and help going through this. There is too much for one person to go through. I need help. It was a lot less complicated in 2016, and it was still complicated. Nobody wanted to hear it, especially not the police. Police don't give a fuck what a man has to say any more than the rest of you do. And then you try to use this case as an excuse to man bash. And you try to use me as your example of why it's okay to man bash. Meanwhile, I am the one who has been continually victimized through all of this. And then treated like I am a horrible person for speaking out about the abuse that I take. Natalie and her sister were both fighting over a boy. Both of them had problems with being rejected. I understand why Natalie felt rejected. She had told me that she thought she was in love with me on multiple occasions, and I just wasn't down with that. I needed a friend. Her sister always had to be the center of attention, though. Anything that Natalie had, her sister wanted, despite the fact that her sister was the popular one. Where I would post up a picture and I'd get 10 likes at most. Natalie Bollinger would post up a selfie. She'd get 400 likes. But her sister would post up a selfie and get 1,000. They reveled in the attention that they got. They loved the free drugs. And they didn't care if they destroyed an innocent man's life. Neither did the police. Neither does Anna Solves or Mike Boudet from Sword and Scale. None of these people care about the damage that they've done. And especially not the police, because they are above the law. Also, most women are above the law. Getting the cops to investigate a female stalker is about like pulling teeth. I speak up because someone has to. This idea that men cannot be victims is bullshit. And then when a man is victimized and he tries to get help, you pretend that he's a stalker who couldn't stand being rejected. I am used to rejection. I am used to abuse. I can handle the rejection. I can't handle the abuse. Something needs to be done about my fucking predators. The cops need to do their fucking jobs. And it's pretty obvious that Investigator Woods is not interested in doing his job. I need a safe place where I can go through my evidence and not have to feel self-conscious about being in somebody else's house and interrupting their life. There's a lot of people that promised they would help me. And then when I went there, they treated me like a burden, or they took advantage of me, took advantage of my money. And it's not like I'm rich. I have to live off of disability money. And even that was taken away from me because without money, you can't defend yourself in fucking court. You're stuck with a public pretender. And you're stuck not being allowed to show the truth, which results in years of abuse, like what I have had to go through and continue to go through. No means no, not just for women, but also for men. When a man is victimized, you gang up on him and victimize him more because he has a penis and it magically makes it okay. Well, it is not okay.